What is going on today, guys? AU here, and today we're back with another video. It's I didn't post a video last Thursday. Actually got pretty behind with some schoolwork, but we're back this week. I plan on posting 5 videos this week, so keep an eye out for those. Also, last week we hit over 100 subscribers, which was huge, and we've been growing pretty steadily since then. Even with me not posting a video on Thursday, we gained around 6 or 7 more, so people are coming and they're watching the content, and they're watching the past content. So if you're new here and you haven't seen the past content, this is your first video, definitely go check that out. There's going to be a bunch of links in the description of past videos. There's going to be a video at the end of this video. If you just want to keep watching all the way through, each new video will take you to a different one. So what we have today, we have another team builder, and we're ditching the Vanillux teams. I know I've been posting a lot of Vanillux teams, but those are gone now, guys. We are focusing more on I want to get some more tournament style teams, some best of 3 style teams out to you guys, because that's what I'm into. I'm into best of 3s more than I'm into best of 1s. Laddering is fun and it's great practice, but ultimately we're here playing VGC so we can compete, and that's what I want to start transitioning you guys into. So here we have a pretty standardish team with a few off meta picks. Like, they're not really off meta, they're good Pokemon, but you don't see them a lot. And one of them is right here at the very beginning, and it's Flapple. Now, Flapple, a lot of people don't use Flapple because Durant kind of does the same thing, and it's a lot more powerful, it's a lot faster. But Flapple is pretty strong. It has Hustle. You can give it a Life Orb, and if you don't know, Hustle doesn't miss whenever you are Dynamaxed. So Flapple it kind of fills the same role that a Durant would fill, but slower, which we'll get to how we cover that later. But Flapple gets Hustle, boosts its attack. Now, Hustle does lower your accuracy by 20%, so a move that's usually 100% accurate is automatically 80% accurate. So you're sacrificing your accuracy for your power. Now we're running Wing Attack. Since we're maxing Flapple a lot, we're focusing on its max move. So we're running Wing Attack for max Airstream, Outrage for max Wormwind, and Grab Apple for max. What's it called? The max Grass move. I don't remember what it's called. And then we have Protect. And we're running Life Orb because we get that Life Orb boost while we're Dynamaxed. And then we're running Max Speed, Max Special, or Max Attack. And it's not anything too special. The reason we're running Outrage is usually a pretty bad move, but it's the only physical attacking dragon move that he gets, which is kind of messed up. Like, he does get Dragon Rush, but that's already 75% accurate and only 100 power. You take that with the 20% debuff on the accuracy, and it's not great. So Outrage, since you're maxing Flapple a lot anyways, Outrage will do just fine. I've ran about 6 or 7 practice games with this team, and I won every single one of them. It's not a bad team at all. I brought Flapple to like 3 of those, 3 or 4, and he pulled his weight. So I really think Flapple has some viability in this meta right now, especially with the absence of, there was a Pokemon that used to really counter it a lot. I can't remember, but really the main thing you need to look out for with Flapple is Togekiss and Conkeldurr. Conkeldurrs sometimes carry Ice Punch. Togekiss is running the Super Lux set a lot of times with max Airstream and max Starfall, so they get a crit on your Flapple. Even without the crit, they still might OHKO, but Flapple's not terrible. Like, it's bulky-ish. It's not terribly horrible. It can live a few things. But see, we have Flapple. He's weak to Ice 4 times. He's weak to Fire. No, he's not weak to Fire. He resists Fire. He's weak to Flying. He's weak to Bug. So I think I said Ice, Flying, and Bug. Yep, so 2 of those things Togekiss can help out with. Now, I put Togekiss here. We're running Scope Lens, Super Luck, Flamethrower, Dazzling Gleam, Air Slash. A lot of people were like, why aren't you running, why don't you run Serene Grace because you have Flamethrower and Air Slash? I don't think the Serene Grace is that good anymore unless you're just a support set with like Follow Me, Yawn, Helping Hand, and Air Slash. Then you might want to run Serene Grace. But I think the best Togekiss set out there right now is probably the Scope Lens set with Super Luck. The best offensive Togekiss set. This Togekiss is kind of semi-offensive, semi-supportive. And the reason I like this set is because it can put on offensive pressure if it needs to. Say we lead Flapple Togekiss and the opponent leads something like Dragapult and their own Togekiss, then Flapple's not going to put in a lot of work in that situation. Now, at that point, we would want to max Togekiss. So it puts on some offensive pressure, it gives us a max Airstream boost, gives us max Starfall, Flamethrower, we can set up the Sun for our Rotom, and then Follow Me. Now Follow Me is if you do get a lead of Flapple and Togekiss, or Togekiss comes in the back after Flapple's already maxed, and you can just use Follow Me and run it as a support at that point. So it's really versatile inside of the team, and that's the reason I really like this set, is because it can be supportive and it can be offensive. With Togekiss, a good partner is usually Excadrill. Togekiss is weak to the ice types, it's weak to electric types, so Excadrill can kind of handle both of those. And we're running Focus Sash, Mold Breaker, High Horsepower, Iron Head, Rock Slide, and Protect, and then just max speed, max attack. It's the same Excadrill I ran on my top 20 Obstagoon team. It's super good. You can give the boosts to Togekiss. You get defense boost, special defense boost. Give those to Milotic. There's another reason. That's another reason that's on this team, is because Milotic is on the team. Give those defense boosts to those two Pokemon, and they become really unkillable. It's crazy how bulky they can get. So Excadrill kind of plays a major role in this team of giving those defense boosts in the games that you'll need it. I haven't necessarily needed it a lot. Now I have maxed Excadrill a few times here and there, but for the most part I'm maxing Flapple. Outside of Flapple though, Excadrill is probably the next Dynamax candidate. So it's a super good Dynamax Pokemon. It's got great Dynamax moves. Like I said, it's just bulking up the rest of your Pokemon as you go. And I thought a really cool support Pokemon in this team would be Sableye. Now, a lot of people usually run Whimsicott, but we already have Flapple and we already have Togekiss, and that would give us another Grass and another Fairy type. So then I did some digging around, and I remembered that Sableye was super good with Excadrill on my Obstagoon team. I got a lot of inspiration from my Obstagoon team for this team. But Sableye Excadrill was one of the main leads of that team, and it is insanely strong. And people lead Whimsicott, you fake out and then max Steel Spike and you get the defense boost. People lead Dragapult, you can quash and get some major damage off on a Dragapult. Or you lead Sableye Togekiss, quash and get a max Starfall off. With fake out pressure, quash pressure, Will-O-Wisp just makes your team even more bulky. Foul play for things like Snorlax, Dragapult, any setup Pokemon like a Hawlucha that gets Swords Dance, or Excadrill that Sword Dances up. I think even Oko's Excadrill that is not Dynamaxed and has no boost. Foul play with Oko, that Excadrill. But we're running Roselia Berry, and the spread here is kind of more extensive. In our special defense side, basically the only thing you don't live is a max Hatterene, max Starfall. And I guess at this point that would also include a max Togekiss, max Starfall crit. So it's pretty good on the special defensive side, and like I said, you can always get the boost from Excadrill and max Quake, which is why this combo is really good, because getting the defense boost onto Sableye makes this thing just be able to stick around the whole game. Like, I've had games where Sableye doesn't actually die, it just sits around the whole game and it's annoying the whole time. And then on the defensive side, we calced for, I think it was like Dragapult max Wormwind or something like that, but Actually, no, I think I just dumped the rest in the defense because with Will-O-Wisp, not really anything's going to KO you on the defensive side if you can get a Will-O-Wisp off, especially if you have a defense boost from Excadrill. So it just ends up making these two Pokemon super bulky when they're on the field together, which is why I really like this lead and why I think this team is actually super good, because you have the support set between Sableye Excadrill, you have the support set between Flapple Togekiss. You can also run Sableye Flapple because Flapple's pretty slow. It only hits 134. So that's slower than Dracovish. So having Sableye with Quash lets Flapple move first and hit hard, and that's the biggest thing between that synergy right there. And then for coverage in the back, we have Rotom because Excadrill is weak to ground. Rotom gives a levitate. You don't see a lot of Excadrills and Tyrannotars anymore because of Conkeldurr. Conkeldurr's kind of scared away the Excadrill, so Rotom has been shining a lot lately because with no Mold Breaker Excadrills running around, there is Rotom to fill in that slot again as a levitator. So we have two Pokemon on the team that are immune to ground types. Excadrill is also weak to fire types and fighting types, both of which Rotom can take hits really well from. Togekiss takes those fighting hits really well. So like I said, Rotom's just here as a defensive, defensive coverage Pokemon. We have Overheat, Thunderbolt, Volt Switch. I was gonna run Will-O-Wisp, but I don't really like having Will-O-Wisp on two Pokemon. Another option here is Ally Switch. I'm not a huge fan of Ally Switch, but there are a lot of people that are. And the only reason I'm not a huge fan of Ally Switch is because you'll always win the first Ally Switch. So say I Ally Switch turn 3, my opponent has no idea I'm going to do it, and I win that Ally Switch every single time. But after that, it's a 50-50 for both players. They don't know if I'm going to Ally Switch again, and I don't know if they're going to predict it a second time. So Ally Switch to me is not a great move, which is why I didn't put it on this set, but I know a lot of people like it. So if you want to have it, that's the slot you put it in, right there over Volt Switch. Now I use Volt Switch as kind of like a relatively fast pivot. We outspeed Gyarados by 1 point, so we can get a relatively fast Volt Switch off and switch into something that can take the hits that was going into Rotom. And then we have Protect, and I promise you this is the right berry. It only confuses if you have a minus special defense nature, so it is the right berry this time. And then finally, for another defensive coverage Pokemon, we have Milotic, and it's kind of a different set than what I've been using. It's Muddy Water and Icy Wind. Icy Wind helps with more speed coverage. We already have Max Airstream from two Pokemon. We have Quash on Sableye, and now we have Icy Wind on Milotic. Muddy Water, just in case it's a spread. I wanted the spread move. We can get the stat debuffs, the accuracy debuffs, to make it harder for our opponent to hit us, and then recover in Helping Hand. I actually led Togekiss Milotic a good bit. Leading that into like an Arcanine or something makes it really scary because Arcanine can come in and intimidate, right? But Milotic gets that +2 boost. Also, Milotic scares off Intimidators in general because if Flapple and Excadrill keep getting Intimidate rotated, then we can switch in Milotic, just take those Intimidates. Or if Togekiss and Rotom keep getting Snarled, we can switch in Milotic to get that +1. If they Snarl, we'll get -1 and then we'll get +2, so that would be a +1 for Milotic with the Snarl. So it kind of scares off those debuff moves that can really hurt the team. That was something that my Obstagoon team dealt with a lot, was the debuffs. Intimidate cycle teams ran through my Obstagoon team because I couldn't do the damage, and having a Milotic on that team to help with that was really, really good. So it's here with the Helping Hand to help Flapple, Excadrill. It's usually paired with Excadrill because it can get those defense buffs like I was talking about, and just getting some Helping Hands off makes Excadrill do some massive damage. His coverage is insane, so that combo is really, really great. Now, that's basically the team. One thing I do want to talk about, because I have a feeling that I'm going to get the comments about it, is how to deal with Trick Room teams. And for the most part, you're going to have to stall it out again. Sableye makes that process super easy though, unless Indeedee's on the other team. Now, like Butterfree, or a lot of teams aren't even running Indeedee anymore. They just have Togekiss as the Follow Me user with the Trick Room setter. which is completely fine for us because at that time Sableye can Will-O-Wisp, it can Fake Out, it can Quash, which is the biggest thing. That's even if you're in Trick Room, Quash still works. So if you Quash a Rhyperior in Trick Room, your Excadrill is going to move first, or your Milotic is going to move first, so you're going to be able to hit it and possibly get that knockout. Outside of that, it's basically stalling out with Excadrill buffs, getting maybe a Will-O-Wisp off with Sableye. If not, then you just put in Milotic, get those stat buffs and defense and special defense. The same with Togekiss, the same with Rotom, making some smart switches, smart protects, which is why we have Protect on a lot of Pokemon. And outside of that, it's kind of just reading your opponent. And I think this team is really good, actually, because it's just powerful. And having the up-to-date meta Togekiss with the Super Luck, up-to-date Rotom's a lot more useful now, like I said, because of the sand teams are kind of going away because of Conkeldurr. Milotic is really strong in the meta right now. Just altogether, the team is super strong, and tomorrow I'm gonna have the battle videos up for this team, and I've actually already recorded it, and it's kind of crazy at how good the team did. So I think with that, guys, we're probably gonna leave you here. So like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. See ya.